So I'm watching this interview with Gwyneth Paltrow on Call Her Daddy. And this is an interview that she did 2 years ago. And I remember listening to it 2 years ago because, to me, Gwyneth Paltrow is like the symbol of like beauty, and she's such a trendsetter. I mean, she started Goop and she's such an acclaimed actress. I mean, she won the Academy Award and she's dated all these incredible men, Brad Pitt, and then she married Chris Martin and so I guess I've held her up on a pedestal. And I remember listening to it 2 years ago thinking like, wow, like there's certain women that just always seem to get the guy, that are always in, relationship after relationship. And I remember feeling like that's just not me. That's never been me. And I remember feeling kind of sad about that. So I essentially was sort of like listening to her and thinking and feeling bad about myself, that kind of thing. So cut to, I'm watching this interview. I decided to rewatch it again because I remembered it and I remembered how I felt. And I wanted to see if I felt differently now. And of course, I totally have a different perspective on the entire interview and really of her. And it's so fascinating because she says, there's only one letter difference between parent and partner. And so you tend to attract to you the parent that you most had the most difficult with, or something like that. And so that made me think, when I think about both my parents, this is very interesting because I think it was very much an act of rebellion as a child to not want to pursue partnership or romantic partnership because my parents both really wanted it for me. That's all they cared about. No matter what I had going on, I just felt completely invisible unless I was going to tell them about somebody I was dating, or that I, whatever it was, right? They both were incessantly obsessed and trying to get me to partner up, so much so, and I've never spoken about this, but my dad even tried to, he hired a matchmaker for me in my mid-30s. So it was like that. It almost felt like they felt like a failure as parents because their daughter wasn't able to find somebody and just get married, right? So I felt this intrinsic pressure and I rebelled against it. And I was like, not only did I rebel against it, but I really saw, because my parents divorced when I was 4, and then my dad went on to remarry 2 other times, I really saw how I wanted something different for myself, that I really wanted to focus on what I wanted, what made me happy. And so I chose a different trajectory. But at the same time, there was still this, like I've mentioned before in other videos, there was still this sort of feeling of sadness or shame for not having this thing that everybody in culture and our society says was so important, and you're less than if you don't have it, etc. So coming back to this whole interview, when I was listening to it, I had such a different perspective on it, because I didn't feel bad about my choices. I didn't feel bad about where I am in life. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I am 50, being in this age, and also because of this journey that I've been on for the past 3 years of surrender, where I've been undoing all of this programming. It's like I really see it was just a program, that the feelings of sadness or shame or not enoughness was all just a program that I kept, like I couldn't get out of. I thought it was intrinsic to me, but it's not. Now that I have distance from it, now that I have space from it, now that I understand the difference between lack mentality versus abundant mentality, wholeness mentality, I can fully understand and see like that's just a program that has been practiced, not even so much as like my lifetime, but lifetimes from like millions and years ago. Like it's like our brains are wired to, are conditioned to survive. And so it's just, I guess what I'm getting at is like this feeling that I have right now where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't even want to entertain any of that. Because I feel so free. It feels like an empowering choice that I've completely detached from this old way of sad and why do they have and not me, and why does she get and not me? All of that bullshit. It just feels so freeing and empowering. And I guess I wanted to share this video because when she made that comment around, parent and partner, it started to hit me that initially I think there was a feeling of satisfaction knowing that I was rebelling against my parents, which is why I kept attracting the same kind of man, which was essentially somebody that I just wasn't that into, or idealizing a man that I just kept feeling defeated against, right? So it was like either way, they were just both essentially keeping me where I am, which is single, which is where I wanted to be. I mean, here's the truth, okay? Are you ready for this? The relationship you have with yourself is and should always be number one. And I think for the first time, I may have come to this awareness. I'm sure I've danced with it a few times throughout my 30s, but there was nothing in the culture, nothing in mainstream society that I ever heard where women were talking about choosing to be alone. It was more like alone by default, or I couldn't meet anyone, so I'm alone, but I'm making the best of it. But it was never a choice. This feels like a choice. I finally feel like I am choosing this, and that is so empowering. That is the biggest difference. I was walking today and I had my headphones in, and some guy was getting my attention. I was like, what? And he was like, oh, you're beautiful. And I was like, oh, thanks. And I walked away, and I remember there was a moment where in the past, had that happen, I've done this before. I would have turned around, I would have tried to engage, this person would have asked for my number, it would have been this whole thing. Not that this is bad, I'm not trying to say it's bad, I'm just trying to point out the difference between who I am now, which is I just kept walking. I was just and I didn't feel bad about it. I did not feel bad about it. I was like, yeah, no, I am beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. And I just kept moving on. And I was like, it just feels so good. So, it's time for Picola's food. And it feels really good to have this be a choice. And yeah, so it's exciting. It's juicy. I'm excited to explore more around really owning what it is I really want. Because what I've learned is when you take away everything and you're left with kind of like just this ball of clay, it's like, then what do you want? It's like when you come from an abundant, whole state of mind where it's like, I can literally do and have and be anything that I want because I no longer care about. It's not that I don't care. It's more like I don't even entertain what everybody else is doing. Then it's like, what do I want to plant? What do I want to create? And that's really exciting. That's really exciting. So please comment below if you resonate or if you're just excited for me. Take care, everyone.